and welcome to today's segment of The Power of Money. I'm your host, Michelle Graves, affectionately known for the last 30 years, believe it or not, as the Money Lady throughout the United States and the world. And what a world we live in today, a world full of change, full of rapid transformation, chaos, unexpecteds every day. You just don't know what to look for any day. You open up the paper, you open up internet, oh God. But on this line of thinking and consistent with my belief that change is inevitable, embrace change, move with change, and you will survive. And on that line of thinking, The Power of Money presents Perfect Transformation, which is an evolutionary change from me dealing with the singular, most angst problem perceived, which is money, and trying to help you through that over the last 20 plus years, and now evolving into the world of perfect transformation, where all dimensions of your life are balanced and in order. And again, consistent with my philosophy of only the best of the best to help you during this transition, I bring you Dr. Rick Howard, naturopathic doctor and world-renowned specialist in holistic healthcare, and Elder Dennis Hatchett, who is a contemporary modern speaker from God. So, and of course myself. So on that note, today we're going to revisit transformation, the 7 steps. Why are you're like, I just heard that. No, you didn't. You heard a portion of it. And we got to make sure you got it down solid so that you can move forward. Our last assignment was, if you will remember, what challenges am I facing with my beliefs? And the question I asked specifically was your response, how you felt when people challenged your beliefs. If they ask you why you go to church on Sunday, why you go to church, period. And I asked you to think about how you felt about it. What did that do when you encountered that type of a question? And your response would be very, very enlightening to you, hopefully a part of your self-discovery that we talk about on the screen there, which is I acknowledge my condition. Are you making your decisions about something as basic as your belief systems or religion or church based upon the way you've been taught, trained, based upon other voices? We talked about voices on our last show. So we're going to continue that conversation because I need to make sure this foundation that we are talking about is firm and solid. Without a firm and solid foundation, we cannot move to other subjects. And yes, there are lots of other subjects that we are going to cover and help you to get through this. If you're not having trouble right now, and if you're not wondering what's happening to you, I don't know where you've been. I really don't, because these are crazy times. Crazy. As the kids say, cray, crazy times. So, Dr. Rick, how you doing?
Good.
Elder Hatchett, how you doing?
I'm great.
Okay, cray. Cray. This is crazy. Who wants to lead off?
Well, I will say that when we were talking about this transformation, we said a couple of shows ago or so that our purpose is to build toward a successful life. Okay.
Got that.
And we said, of course, we have to define what is success. So we're going to do that coming up. But I think that there are 4 engines that we begin to talk about of transformation. And they grow out of our life. They're not separate and distinct from our life, but they grow out of our life. Okay, character is one. Knowledge that we get, and we talked about that, and getting knowledge, that there are things, that there are voices we hear, our environment stimulates us and leads us to a certain amount of self-acknowledgement, self-discovery. I say, what am I like? Why am I making the choices? Mm-hmm. What values drive the choices that I make? And then, so you have character, you have knowledge. Then out of those things, unitedly, you come upon your purpose. Okay. Purpose, we said a few shows ago, purpose are your lane markers. Purpose tells you, okay, You stay in your lane while you're on your way to where you're going. Stay in your lane. You're not going to bump in Dennis's lane. You're not going to go this way. Purpose gives direction. Character gives guidance. Why I'm going on the trip, okay? Where I'm headed to. But purpose says stay in your lane while you go on that trip, okay? And I have to have knowledge to do that. So character, knowledge, purpose, and then practice. Those are the things that are going to guide but choice, how I make my choices is the guidance to my character decisions, to my knowledge, to my purpose. Like I said, when you look at the pack of cigarettes, it tells you on there, the knowledge tells you this will kill you. So why are you still smoking? Why do you still smoke? Why do you do the things that harm your body? It's a matter of certain character and moral decisions. I care about my body more than I care about this habit. And this habit will not have victory over me. I choose not to smoke. I choose to overcome this habit. And that's going to demand some level of sacrifice, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I'm going to have to make a choice about whether I care more about my body or more about how this makes me feel. It might not be that. It might be drinking. It might be gambling. It might be a person that I like that person, but they're toxic for my life. My choices guides what I do and the knowledge I grab. And my purpose arises and says, Rick, is this person in your lane or you're in their lane?
Okay.
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 I have to come back. And character is the thing that says to me, this is why you're doing what you're doing. Stay true.
Stay true. Remember that.
Absolutely. And all of your practices then become habits. And you can evaluate life, your direction, and everything you're doing by your habits. Because if your habits aren't creating the wealth that we're talking about, there's something in your process that's off kilter.
You know something, and I have to say this again to both of you publicly, because your observations, insights, and teachings have helped me in ways that are profound. And things that I would have tolerated, like the issue of I'm in my lane, and there's always people wanting to pull you out of your lane. And always, and you're like, wait a minute, I'm doing oh no, but I need you over here, and I need you to do this. And we are pulled out of our lane. I would say the vast majority of people are pulled out of their lanes.
Absolutely.
And distracted and never reach the finish line.
Exactly, because of the distraction. Because the distraction now becomes your focus, and it now becomes your lane. It now becomes your purpose.
The distraction becomes your purpose.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, there's always going to be something that guides your choices. See, choices aren't isolated or ultimate. There's a voice that I hear that's going to say, why don't you do this? Why don't you come over in this lane? It's better in this lane. There's always a knowledge factor that will enlighten me as to what I desire, you see? And we have to keep going to this process because I get knowledge. The reason we isolate knowledge as one of these transformational engines is because it's like things I collect. Books. There are millions and millions and millions and billions of books out on the market, but I don't have those. I don't need all of those books. I choose very carefully which books I put in my library so that when I review that book, I will get the knowledge I have desired that's in line with my purpose, that's in my lane. And I think the problem we talked about before, so many young people, so many older people have chosen knowledge that they should never have had.
Never.
Eve
Never.
chose something that she should not have had. Somebody said to her, why haven't you tasted this fruit? This is good stuff. You need this. You should
You
have
have it.
this. It's going to make you glorious. You're going to become like God. Well, she didn't stop to think. I'm already
Right.
like God. I already have what you're promising me.
Right.
You're trying to sell me a bridge I already own.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's the truth.
Collecting the wrong knowledge can derail your choices.
My God. What's your
Absolutely.
thought?
Along with that choice of the wrong choices and it being derailed, there's another element that comes into the process, because when somebody gives you a different set of knowledge that doesn't coincide with the knowledge that you possess, there's a choice that you make to trust in that knowledge that they're sharing with you about their lane versus the lane you're in. Because now which becomes a moral issue. And a lot of times we come over into this other lane because we're trusting the knowledge and the presenter, because the presenter usually has a resume of success and all the things that they've done, and this is how we do it, and this is how it's done, and you need to learn that, and you need to learn this, and you need to learn that. And in a lot of instances, when you come into a situation like that and you're not aware that there are other choices, you're not aware that there's another structure that this should be measured by, you find yourself going in this direction and then connecting to this engine because of the trust you've put in somebody else's pattern and presentation of success.
Okay, wait a minute now. You know, like a person's doctor comes to them and says, I'm the one who's been to medical school. I'm the one who knows what's better for you than you. Why wouldn't you trust them? Why shouldn't you? Do you have to go to medical school and get all their information? How do you decide what influences your choices?
Well, for me, it's an evaluation of fruit, because the Bible says you know the tree by the fruit it bears. So after you give your
So you
presentation,
never go to a fat doctor?
Oh,
well,
definitely not.
Not about dietary
Yeah,
issues.
not
I know.
about dietary, and including no cardiologist better be showing up looking like tubby.
I also don't go to the doctor who says, well, let's just cut this off and then we'll. I don't go to him either.
That's
So
funny.
there has to be an evaluation of fruit, because when we look beyond the presentation of the knowledge, okay, what benefits has his knowledge afforded him? Because these are the same benefits that I'm going to be actually walking into if I'm utilizing this new knowledge to a degree where it brings me fruit. This is going to be my fruit, because my fruit is going to be relative to their fruit, because I'm following the same path and the same knowledge factor and process that they had. So if we don't look beyond the knowledge factor to say, okay, let me see what his fruit is. And as you said to the fat doctor, that's his fruit. And I'm like, okay, I'm having dietary issues, and I'm going to go to the fat doctor for my dietary issues.
Well, see, you know, this is the thing, though.
Funny. That is so funny.
And if the fat doctor is watching, no offense. Here's the thing that we're talking about, though. I have to make a moral choice about the knowledge I take to guide my standards. I mean,
Exactly.
my choices and what I believe. That's a moral decision. And I think people shy away from making moral decisions because they think they're going to become moralistic. Well, everybody makes moral decisions. The atheist makes moral decisions. The atheist lives by faith.
Yeah, they do.
Okay,
Like,
because
don't die.
they place their belief system in the hands of a scientist or in the hands of the evolutionist. Whatever you've chosen to believe, that's a moral decision.
Absolutely.
Simply, moral decisions are the decisions that guide the standards that you live by.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I like that. Say that again.
So a moral strength or a moral choice is the standard that guides the values or establishes the values we live by. Okay, so everybody lives by something. Everybody decides, well, is this chair gonna hold me up? Do I test the chair out? Do I put bricks on the chair till it doesn't fall? No, I just sit down. That's a moral choice. I have trusted, I have faith. Past experience has taught me. Presently, I see Dennis and Michelle sitting down, so I'll trust this chair. That's a moral decision.
That's excellent.
See?
That's excellent.
And that's a power that if we don't use, we won't have any vision. That doesn't mean I don't get information from the fat doctor. The doctor, he could have good information.
Right.
See? But I am not letting that be the final standard by which I live. You see?
Right. I think this issue of, I'll tell you, I do not believe the majority of people understand the moral power. I don't believe, first, that they know it, because what they translate religion as and morality as is moral, and it's not the same.
Not quite.
Not quite.
Not quite.
Not quite. So a person can, just by illustration, a person can lead a wildly random life and say that they have religious belief systems. And when crisis comes, they don't know how to work through it other than to fall back onto their religious thinking. Am I making any sense here?
Well,
they cry out to the Lord for help.
There's an illustration that I think would be great.
Okay, give it to me.
There was a bowl of fruit in a room, okay? And it was just looking so good. And then I went into, and I picked it up. It was rubber. It was plastic. I'm thinking, man, I'll just get a piece of this fruit. There are things that look like what is real, but only when you come to try to digest it and make it a part of your life do you find it's indigestible. I can't make this a part of my life. It is not a good standard to live by. There are a lot of things that look like the real thing, and that's what's marketed on television. You know, sleep with 30 people and
find yourself.
You know, find yourself. Don't be restricted by, you know, any moral. Well, you have made a moral decision.
Yeah.
You just made a poor moral choice.
Right.
Because and it depends on what your purpose is. I guess because if your purpose is to destroy your life, hey, you've done a good job. You've done a good job. But I don't think most of the people that are watching this are trying to destroy their lives. We're not trying to say, wow, I want to crash into the wall. But I guess the point of pointing out these engines of transformation is character is important. Character is the fruit that I yield from all the influences, what I've collected, what I've chosen and decided. Character is the fruit that I bear. So that knowledge that I gather is a part of that. If I have no purpose, I have an indiscriminate purpose. I'll be in everybody else's lane.
All over the place.
All over the place because my purpose is, oh, that looks good today. I'll do what Dennis does. Oh, that looks good. Oh, I'll do. You have to have, like you said, a true north, right?
Exactly.
So purpose says, Rick, I don't care what you're saying, you're not going north. You're going southeast, and it's over a cliff. And if I listen to that, and if I gain the enlightenment and say, wow, I discovered I'm headed toward the cliff. The map says so, the compass says so, I need to make a different decision.
Right.
Oh, okay. So what we're trying to do is give shape to this process for those who want to change their lives. If you don't want to change your life, that's impossible. Everybody is going to change their life.
Anyway.
Because if you don't change it, circumstances will.
Only people who don't change their lives are those who are dead.
Believe it.
They do that one last change.
That one last change, and it's goodbye.
Okay, so that's the only way we'll get out of making change. But we're talking about making what?
Transformation.
Transformation only happens with living things. Okay.
And I want to just kind of restate that in the Greek, transformation means metamorpho, which is the root word for metamorphosis. And the Greek term literally means a caterpillar, which is a grotesque, unrecognizable entity that I don't even think birds eat them. But they
eat some of them.
Do they eat some of them?
Some of them.
Oh, okay.
There are some, though, that mimic poisonous ones trying to keep the birds off.
Oh, now that's a smart caterpillar.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to watch him. But they change after a period of incubation. They create a cocoon from their own saliva, and they come out so different. A butterfly, a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Now, since you brought that out, that's an interesting thing, because caterpillars spend the first part of their life collecting stuff from different plants.
Correct.
Okay. Collecting.
Oh my gosh.
From their environment.
Right.
See,
okay.
They come aware of environmental stimulation. They go about this flower, that flower, collecting what they need. And once they have collected what they need, then
they go into their cocoon.
I acknowledge my condition, and I find what I desire. Then I make a decision to cocoon myself. And when you cocoon yourself as a human, you are getting ready to transform into something.
Oh my God.
It just depends on what you have collected. Right?
I got it.
Absolutely.
I mean, what you have collected.
Absolutely.
And that's the whole point. What you collected will become apparent to everybody as your character.
Absolutely.
Whoa.
You see?
Got
what you collected, you cocoon yourself in it, and you metamorphosize into a butterfly or a dead caterpillar.
A dead caterpillar, moth, whatever.
You
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
So it works the same in nature as it does in human nature.
That is so profound. But that is exactly what transformation means. When the Bible talks about be ye transformed, that is that Greek word metamorpho, and the analogy of the caterpillar, which is something that's disgusting and completely unrecognizable in its new clothing, and the butterfly has wings, which I find interesting as well.
But
the butterfly has wings. I mean, it does. It sprouts out, and it can fly.
It has power. Now it has released the true value or the true strength of its powers that were already in it.
Yes.
But I'm going to say this because it gives a little different perspective. The caterpillar did not choose to be the caterpillar. It only received what it was given.
Wait a minute.
It had to take what it was given, make decisions about what it collected to become what we finally see. See, it's the same way with people.
We didn't choose.
We didn't choose what
we actually didn't.
No.
No, we were born in.
We didn't choose our parents.
We did not choose our parents.
I'm going to be black today.
No.
I'm going to be black. I'm going to be born black. I'm going to be a woman. I'm going to be born a man. We don't choose. How can society really now present before people you can choose? Well, okay, let's not go there. You don't choose what you are, but you choose what you become.
And that is powerful.
Right?
That is powerful. No, the ability to choose what you become, based upon critical evaluation of yourself and your happenings, the things that have happened over the course of your life.
Series of crises
And looking at them objectively.
Yeah, well, hopefully.
Well,
I mean, once you get back up on your feet, put your head back in
on
place.
Crack.
Okay?
Right.
Maybe that would be, and for most people it is. I mean, I think it is a life-altering event. But unless you grab that and embrace that to some level, you'll never become the butterfly. You'll never have your wings.
You'll never have your wings.
You only have the wings. And there was a story I told about a farmer who was watching a caterpillar.
Okay.
And he watched it over a period of time. The caterpillar made the cocoon.
Okay.
Now, when the cocoon, begins to break open, okay, then the farmer saw that the moth or the butterfly was struggling to get out.
Oh, wow.
So
he didn't try to help him.
He tried to help him. He cut it open, and the thing came out and promptly died.
Promptly died.
Why? Because I need the butterfly breaking out of the cocoon circulates blood to the wings and circulates blood to the body. That's the only way. By that stress and struggle and striving, if it does not push and strive through the circumstances,
Whoa.
it will not transform.
And that's the exact same process we go through, but we just talked about it in the physical sense. But now, and that's what the second part of the scripture says, by the renewing of your mind. Because now you take all those things that you've been given, and now we reprocess them in a different manner. And when that reprocessing is actually completed, transformation is completed. And we're going to go through the same pressing process to get out, because there's going to be some issues within the confines of what we've been given that we don't necessarily like, that haven't been beneficial for us, and we're going to have to fight and struggle to get away from those things and that fight and struggle prepare us to be able to handle the newness that's going to be presented.
But that's why so many people are failing, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Because cultural fads is cutting us out of our struggle to become some predetermined thing.
Absolutely.
I sag my pants. I don't know why I'm sagging my pants, but I'm holding my pants up because everybody else is holding their hands up.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, wow, why are my pants like this? Or why am I putting a hole in my tongue? Or why am I doing, I don't know, eating potato chips for breakfast? I don't know. Whatever that is, I need the process of self-discovery. When things short-circuit this, we always go through it, but it can be short-circuited, right?
Absolutely.
But unless I go through self-discovery and determine for myself what I desire, then I will not make correct decisions. Then I will make no commitment to what I've decided, and I will be changeable.
Back and forth, like every
because I
wind.
have not made a commitment to what I have personally decided.
Absolutely.
Somebody else has cut me out.
Do you think this is why so many people just quit? I mean, by the time they hit 50, they're a doner. They just quit because they don't know who they are. They don't know how to get out of that situation. They don't know what to do.
But there are many ways to quit, isn't there?
Well, you can.
Some people give up.
Yeah, they give
and
up.
some people quit by just doing what everybody else does.
Right.
That's quitting as well.
Right. Because it's easy.
Yeah, it's
you
easy
just line
to follow.
up. It's easy.
What do? We lift our hands. Oh, what do? We say praise the Lord. What do we do? And without making that a part of your actual fiber of your character, I'm just mocking or
Mimicking, yes.
what somebody else has done, and that's just as bad.
You know, the interesting thing about it, when we talk about
This is good.
when we talk about those getting old and they quit, they say they're tired.
I hear it all the time.
And they're tired because they're struggling, they're flexing their wings, they're moving their muscles, but nothing's changing.
They don't take flight.
Exactly.
They never take flight.
Exactly, because that the metamorphosis never takes place because the transformation of the mind. Because if you always do what you've always done, you'll always be what you've always been. They have sights to go somewhere grand, do something grand, but they're still operating in the confines of the limited knowledge that they've been given. They're not seeking after anything greater. They're not knocking for anything greater, and they're not asking for anything greater.
You know something? I'm back on this. I wonder what the caterpillar is thinking, since they do have intellect. All life forms have intellect. What is he or she, I don't know, thinking as they're in that cocoon? Because there is, and this is just, this is not vanity. This is because it is a life form and it knows that it has to do this, but it does not know outcome.
Well, I think that, number one, you have to have a mind to reason. They have instinct.
Okay.
Because they are a part of pre-programmed agenda.
Okay.
Okay. But I don't think there's any caterpillar saying, I wonder what's going to happen once I get out of here. Am I going to be able to find a job now that I've, going through this?
And what am I going to eat?
What am I going to eat?
What am I going to
What do butterflies eat anyway? They don't eat
I don't even
caterpillars. I don't even know what. No. That's the biggest difference. See, God gave these things as examples of what we go through. But there's only one creature made in the image of God. There's only one that can say, what will I be?
Right.
Okay.
And choose.
And choose. That's
choice.
That's why it's big.
Right. And it is big because, as we have said earlier, most people never ever touch self-awareness and self-discovery. I'm going to say this because this is not something that is encouraged in any of our systems, whether it be church, whether it be school, whether it be social, whether it be family. When you start talking about, I'm trying to find myself, most people will tell you, you already found yourself, and take yourself over there and sit down. But that, the fact that that is an essential component to getting you where you need to be.
Well, they can't afford to give you that because let's say you talk about those social systems.
Right.
Once you're in that social system, if they give you the ingredients to now fly, you're not going to be part of the system anymore. And they need you to help sustain the system. The system's not going to be sustaining if you're not there contributing your finances, your wealth, and your goodness to the system. So they don't encourage you to have self-awareness and self-discovery. No, we want you to discover what we have. And what we have is all-encompassing. Because the thing is, if you have your own will, then you have no need for my will. And if I can't have you dependent on my will, then my riches are now limited to my own resources. And if I don't have any more resources because no one else is connecting to my will because they have a need for my will and you have a will of your own, so they're not going to teach you to have self-awareness. They're not going to teach you to come into a place where you acknowledge your own condition so that you can say, okay, I can take these things and reformulate them, and now I grow wings, and now through the exercising in this process, I can actually fly because now I learned that these things that I've been exercising actually can lift me off the ground.
Wow.
So we never go anywhere because the systems are set up for control. All the systems socially are set up for control. All of them.
Well, I think let me push on you a little here.
Push.
Okay. Have you ever seen anybody take their dishes to the car wash to be clean? You ever seen that happen?
I haven't, but
No.
No, maybe to the trash can.
Maybe to the trash can. Okay, so I'm saying that only in a theocracy, okay, now that's a big word.
Okay.
Okay, it's a system of social governance that has one decided purpose. It has the same purpose as the family, as the church, as the social system. That's a theocracy where they have one purpose.
One.
Okay, but we don't live in a theocracy. We live in a democracy. Okay, which is a whole nother thing. But the point that I'm making is, in the system that we live, it is only intended that the family give air to those. I don't want the people at school teaching my kids what right and wrong are. That's my job. But the problem we're having is the school at best should be an educational force to give better informational knowledge to the mind. They should be a voice that at best gives good knowledge to the mind. If you are sending your child to a place that is not giving good knowledge to the mind, you should take them away from that system, because that's their only job in this society.
That properly
and
placed.
The government is really only to provide an environment for living. If you put it in a bigger context, they bring dump trucks of dirt and fertilizer and manure, and they dump it in one place and say, go for it.
On you.
Go for it.
On you.
If I look for the government to help me to grow, they're going to look at me funny.
Right.
But they are helping you to grow, because they've created systems to influence you to cause division. And they divide that big compass that you just made focus to the family. The family unit is not the family unit anymore. So that unit of education is deficient. And now they become dependent on the system because of the lack of, and there's so many lacks that have been created by the government and the system, but it is yet still to feed that one purpose.
Well, the problem is people make up governments and systems, don't they? People are deciding what that system should be and what it should not be, and that's the problem. I think
based upon their own.
Based upon their own knowledge and information and influence. Okay? Moral power is ultimately an influence.
Absolutely.
Okay? That's how rock stars become rock stars. They are exerting a moral power, and so they exert that influence over something. Musicians and basketball players, right? They exert moral power, which is ultimately an influence. Okay.
And a powerful one at that.
And a very powerful one.
Yes, it
so
is.
Charles Barkley, I hate to tell you this, but you are an influence. You are, call it a model if you want. You may not be a good model, but you're an influence. You are that. You can't help, you can't get out of this life.
What's the guy that went to see the president of North Korea, the basketball player?
Dennis Rodman.
Oh, yeah, he's an influence. He's an influence. I'm like, how the heck you get into North Korea? And this man admires you.
Yeah, that's
I'm not
whole other story.
That's another.
That's a different program.
Okay, that's a different program.
I actually did.
I'm like, what voices were there?
Seminar with him in it because. Okay. I was like, whoa, wait. Okay.
Where is your moral compass coming from?
Yeah, and it's pointed toward, like, whoa. See, the indecision that comes out of a person's life tells you how strongly they were able to internalize moral direction. Moral principles give vision to the life.
Got it.
Otherwise, I will. What do they do when the duck comes out, is born, and they fix on whatever they see? Your fixer is broken. You don't fix on everything. Your fixer is broken. He's broke, brother. You come on now. Okay.
Right.
So I think society has a role to play, whether we like it or not, and because we don't live in a bubble.
Correct.
I mean, there are, and it's real interesting these days in a lot of settings, religious settings, there are a lot of people trying to create a bubble within society, saying, well, we're only going to talk to people like this. We're only going to deal with people like this. We're only going to, I don't deal with that. But every time you go to the store, you deal with somebody that's not like you. That's
exactly.
touch your stuff.
Right.
Okay, so now either you grow your own stuff, you make your own stuff, and there are people who do that.
Yeah,
I deal with some of my clients are Amish.
Right.
Okay, and it depends on what type of Amish. Some of them are very insular in their lifestyle. You know, I went and spent a night with some way down in Kentucky, and I was working with their children and such, and the wives and everything. But it was so insulated. I mean, they don't have electricity, not on the grid, but they create electric. But they run a business. They have a business.
Okay.
They create the electricity through gas-powered turbine. It was amazing what they had done. But it was the first time, just as a sidebar, it was the first time that I had ever been to a place where at night I heard nothing.
Not even a chirp?
No chirps. It was like they had trained the birds. They had trained the crickets.
Be quiet.
It was nothing, and I was like,
wow.
Whoa. And it was so
That's
unreal.
Surreal.
It was surreal. I was like, something is missing.
Yeah.
But even with that, insulated, isolated, they grew their own stuff, crazy things still crept into their minds. Where did it come from? You see, there were some strange thoughts. Their kids still ran around and acted like kids. Where did that come from? There is no way that you can get out of this transformative process.
Absolutely.
It's built into you as a human. There is someone who built it in, and he says, look, whatever you want to do, I just want you to get to here. I want you to make a choice. You're either going to choose for good or you're going to choose for ill. But you're going to choose. By not choosing, you have made a choice.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So we can't depend on our culture to make a choice for us.
No.
We can't depend on the movie actor or, you know.
Entertainment guy.
We can't. We can't.
So how do you, we know sitting here as people that are committed to this process, and certainly I am, and I'm excited about it because of the change that has begun to happen in me and transformation. I will tell you, you cannot be in my lane. I'm good. I had to tell a woman that the other day who has called me incessantly wanting to drag me into her stuff. And women, and you all hear me, women, you know you do this. you do this because your emotional stuff is wacko. She wanted me to get involved with a family situation that I refused to get involved in. I said, number one, I can't do this and do that. And she said, well, in the past, you know, you've gotten so big where you can't. I said, wait a minute, this is not even about bigness. This isn't about me getting big. This is about me staying focused. And she was very angry. Do you find that to happen as people recognize, as you begin to evolve and come to a consciousness of what you're to do, when you will not play with them in their toy box?
Listen, go back to the caterpillar.
Got it.
Go back to the caterpillar. At some point in your life, somebody's not going to be happy with who you are.
Okay.
If a caterpillar fell on your arm, most people would be flailing trying to get it off. But if a butterfly landed on your arm,
Yeah.
don't move.
Don't move.
Don't move. Let's see how long it's going. See, at some point in your life, your beingness will have an effect on somebody. They're going to either try to brush you off or they're going to try to invite you in. But that should not change your path towards transformation.
Absolutely.
What people like or don't like, who they are, who they're not, should not change your path toward. If the caterpillar says, nobody likes me, I can't. What if he was able to say and think like that? Then he would say, I'm just going to kill myself. He would never learn to fly. He would never learn that deep within him are wings.
That is so powerful.
See, even though I don't know I have wings,
It's still there's still there.
a potential that I cannot even see. And that's most people. Most people, I don't care if you're 80 years old, there is still a potential for you to do something. You may not be able to reach the same potential that you could have at 30.
At 30, yes, at 30.
Right? But the fact that you're still alive means there is still actionable, I should say.
Actionable, that's okay.
Actionable potential. Right?
Absolutely. You know, and when we talk about that, open-mindedness and being open to receive something different, because when we have these individuals that want to bring us over into their lane, in a lot of instances is an acknowledgement to your accomplishment. And they're just wanting to connect themselves to you, but they want to make you a part of them as opposed to them becoming a part of you.
I never looked at it like that. I know that and it's not speaking ill of her or anyone, most people are not aware that this carries a tremendous amount of risk. Transformation carries risk.
Absolutely.
Because the risk of rejection. Risk. People will reject you. People do not like to be rejected. Human beings do not want to be rejected.
Well, let me ask you a question. Is rejection always a bad thing?
I don't think it is, but I recognize that.
I asked a question on this note, with this example.
Okay.
Now, we go back, when I was in high school, I had this crush on this individual in high school.
Okay.
And she was the cat's meow back in high school. So then 25 years later, I bump into this same individual, and I'm like,
she's roaring.
And I'm like, so being rejected back then turned into a blessing, because it's like, thank you, Jesus. She rejected me.
Well, but see, you never know what your influence would have helped her become.
Or what her influence would have made me become.
And I think that is a very real thing, that we are an influence. We become influencers once we have made a choice. I can influence your life for the good. I can influence your life for the good. You can influence my life. You can influence my life. It's a circular thing. That's called a society. That's really the way.
A balance.
It's
a balance.
Well,
society.
You know what? I don't even know if it's always balanced, because sometimes that makes us upset. We say, they're not giving me what I gave to them. I don't know if that's always going to happen, right?
Right.
I mean, because you don't know what dirt they came out of.
Right, and that is major. You don't know what dirt they came out of.
So maybe for where they came from, their potential has maxed. Maybe that's what it is. And the scripture puts it this way. It says, God says, I will say of this man, he was born here, he was born there. I will say of this man, he was born of Seba, which is Ethiopia, of whatever. I will say he was born here. In other words, he said, when I judge, when I count the people, when I judge, I will say Rick was born here, Michelle was born here. So we do have to have give and take when we consider where people are, where they came from, because you might give me more than I give you. And that has to be okay as long as you have a feeling that I have given my best.
Right. And that's all we can do is look at, because I'm a giver, and I say that without any kind of apologies. I delight to see people do well. I hurt when people don't do well. I want people to be whole and healed and happy. That's something I've done all my life, and I'm committed to it. But I also recognize that we have to be very, very careful to always look at everything from the perspective of moral. And we cannot allow anything to deviate us from that. We will be challenged consistently. We will be challenged consistently to not do that.
Well, you make a strong point, because if a person ignores the moral power in their life, their only alternative, then I'll put it that way, is to measure materials or not intellect.
Yeah.
So if you, does he have something to give me?
Right.
Is there something I can learn from her?
Right.
That's
it becomes entirely predatory.
It becomes a predatory lifestyle,
it really does.
and that's where we live in a society that has forsaken moral guidance. And then we become predatory, because if you don't have something material to give me, I can't learn something, you can't teach me how to be better, then why do I need you?
Exactly. You have
and believe me, that's where we are today.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, but that's why we're doing this, because this has an end run. This predatory, gimme, me, has an end run. It has an end run, which is the cliff is looking at you. Whether you jump off of it and splat to your eternal destination, whether you jump off and hurt yourself and hurt others, but there is an end game to this.
Now I'm going to say something weird toward the end of this show.
Okay, we're there.
The weird thing is, I would rather see somebody drive full steam off the cliff than to be backing up and accidentally fall over the cliff. Because at least they have made a decision about where their life is going to go.
I got you.
You see what I'm saying?
I got you.
The whole point of this process is to make a choice. And that's what God says, I put before you good, evil, make a choice. My brother used to say, if you're going to be wrong strong.
Wrong strong.
Be wrong strong. Just
we're done.
Drive.
And accept the responsibility.
Yes.
To make the choice.
That's it.
Wow. We're done. Can you believe it? We're done with this segment on the engines of transformation. I'm Michelle Graves. And again, as always, it's my delight, pleasure, privilege to come before you today with information that is so powerful that it will change your life, and if you're faithful, you will experience transformation. Ask me how I know. You take care. See you next time. Bye-bye.